Hi beautiful souls, I'm Shemery and I'm the host and founder of the Advanced Lightworkers discussion group, and this video forms part of our catch-up series, and in this video I'm briefly going to explain how souls work. So we've all become familiar with the concept that we stem from one original source. So that means at the beginning of time, all the souls were joined together and there was only one soul. And the very first act of creation was when that soul split into two pieces so that it could see itself reflected at the same time. So that mechanism that enabled the soul to split into smaller pieces but still be complete on its own, that mechanism is ego. Now, when we speak about the holographic nature of souls, what we effectively mean is that even if you had to take the tiniest piece of source or all that is and break it off with the mechanism of ego so that it was one soul, that soul would still be complete in and of itself, and it would contain everything that the biggest parts of it, all of source, contains. It contains all that energy, all that connection, all that knowledge, all of that, everything inside it. A great way to think about that is if somebody takes a piece of your DNA, they will be able to clone you exactly. Even though it's only one tiny little piece of you, it contains all the information to be the biggest version of you possible. But it doesn't end there though, because even those soul pieces that we've now got can be further broken down into smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller aspects. And that's actually what the whole process of creation is. It's separating this bigger lump of energy into smaller and smaller and smaller pieces using this mechanism called ego that gives every smaller piece its own complete sense of identity. So those little pieces then become other souls. So you can have lives going on in different dimensions. You can have 10 or 20 lives going on the planet right here, right now. You've got parallels going on. You've got alternate realities going on next to you. And all of those are their own complete little soul on its own complete little journey. But where it gets interesting is when you start looking at how twin flames work. So when the original act of creation occurred and the biggest part of source split into two halves, when those halves saw each other and they reflected to each other, there was joy. So much joy and so much love. And they came together, merging, becoming one again in spontaneous tantric union. And we can approach souls from the same way. At the biggest level of that expansion and spontaneous tantric union, there was a spontaneous tantric union of 144,000 souls or soul aspects that formed one soul that became what we think of as all of creation, or the Christed soul, or the sonship. The other half of the original source that had stayed behind was where we come from. That is the Mother or Mara, or the original God. Now, when we put a soul together, it doesn't only have to be one piece from one dimension or one reality. We can go along and we can pick up little pieces of souls from all over the place, and we can fuse them together so that they become one soul. And then how that works is that those soul aspects wake up as the person reaches higher levels of understanding within themselves. When those soul aspects wake up, the person is then also able to access higher level information in the morphic or holographic field, and they are able to sometimes think thoughts that come from outside of the limits of this holographic field and the field that we're living in right now. So when you are shifting and you're having big healing experiences, if you've ever had that moment where all of a sudden you felt like a completely new person, you had the thought or you had the awareness or you had the realization, then that is a soul aspect waking up inside you. What's been happening for many of us light workers is that we've brought soul aspects with us from dimensions of creation that are outside of Earth. Remember, Earth up until this point only went up to 4D, and there its energetic level stopped. So we've brought 5D, 6D, 7D, 8D, 9D, 10D, 11D aspects with us. As far as I understand it, but this could be my own ego limitation in understanding, as far as I understand it, we couldn't really have a 12D aspect because 12D is source, or all that is, so that is one. So you can either be part of source or you can't. So I don't know that we could have a 12D aspect. I do know that when this started waking up for me, I woke up a 6D soul aspect that I was very lucky enough to see in a soul retrieval, and I experienced the symbiosis on that 6D planet. When you're born on that planet, you're born in groupings where there's a frog and 2 flamingos, and if something happens to one, it happens to all 3 at the same time. And that was a very key understanding for me to be able to piece together the puzzle of how the separation and unification and all of this worked for me to be able to understand it. So those soul aspects will bring brand new information, plus they'll allow you to access deeper levels of information that's here. One of the things that's interesting that can happen with twin flames that I'm noticing is that sometimes you're getting twin flames across only soul aspects that are woken up. So the person's important, but they're only important for a brief period. That is definitely a pattern that I've been noticing as well. Last thing about souls is that a Christed soul, so a Messiah or a Christed soul, is a soul where there are 144,000 soul aspects all completely awake and working together. That's what we're working towards. So you're looking for those moments where you feel like you've been hit by the cosmic bus and you don't know who you are anymore, because that means you're waking up soul aspects. You truly are getting smarter. You truly are accessing more information in the field. So enjoy it. Put yourself out there. Reach for it. The more you trust the information that is coming to you, the more clear the information is going to become. You don't get given faith, you have faith, and you are rewarded for the faith that you have chosen to have. So enjoy, get out there. I hope this has clarified some stuff. As always, post comments and questions below, and then I'll either do another video or I will answer directly. Love you fiercely. Mwah. Have a fantastic day.